In 2016, the area surrounding Bangalore, India, seemed to be a typical urban setting. Bellandur Lake, however, told a different story. Fast forward to 2019, and it was the same unsettling scene: foam, not from a fire suppression spill, but from the lake itself, spilling into the streets. The shock that greeted newcomers was soon met with indifference by the locals. It had simply become another day in the life of Bellandur Lake. Even more startling than the foam is the fact that this very lake can actually catch fire, and it happens regularly, almost like clockwork. Authorities, in their wisdom, decided that floating plants might be the solution. A strange solution for a strange problem, and one that seems to draw more raised eyebrows than actual concern. In India, it's not unusual for people to drink from rivers or wash in natural water sources. While this is commonplace, it's also a huge problem, and one that is all too visible. Take the Yamuna River, for example. Once upon a time, the river's waters were pristine and blue. Fast forward to today, and the Yamuna has become one of the most polluted rivers in the world. This wasn't always the case. The rapid growth of India's economy since economic liberalization in 1991 has had a monumental impact on the country. From 2003 to 2018, the economic growth rate never fell below 5%, and in some cities, the rate remained in the double digits for decades. However, with this growth came the inevitable consequences: urbanization, increased population, and greater water consumption. This created a significant strain on the country's waterways. The result? The Yamuna, along with many other rivers, has suffered the consequences of untreated sewage and industrial waste. Cities simply can't keep up with the influx of wastewater or even treat it to a level that's safe enough for reuse or irrigation. It's not just household waste. Industrial waste plays a huge role too. Take the city of Tirupur, for instance. Known for its textile industry, Tirupur contributes to 90% of India's cotton fabric exports and over half of its knitwear exports. But the Noil River, which runs through the city, has been heavily affected by this booming industry. Every day, 23 million gallons of wastewater, mostly from textile manufacturing, are dumped into the river. While regulations allow for a maximum of 2,100 parts per million of dissolved solids, the actual level in the river is as high as 9,000. And in the summer, it can be even worse. Harmful elements like copper, zinc, and lead, though commonly found in the environment, are still considered hazardous to public health when they reach unsafe levels in the river. This is a pervasive issue, affecting not just Tirupur, but nearly all of India's waterways, which are tainted by industrial waste. Estimates from 2016 to 2017 indicate that Indian companies generated a staggering 7.17 million tons of hazardous waste. Over 746 companies were found to be dumping their wastewater directly into major rivers like the Ganges, further exacerbating the problem. And it's not just limited to toxic metals. Toxic chemicals like lead, cadmium, chromium, and arsenic are commonly found in these polluted waters. As for the Yamuna, as of 2019, it received around 211 million gallons of untreated sewage daily, along with an additional 12 million gallons of industrial waste. Of that, only 35% was treated. Across India, the total daily sewage produced by cities is 10 billion gallons, but the treatment capacity is a mere 3 billion gallons. The result is that rivers and lakes across the country are in a similar state to the Yamuna, and some of these bodies of water have gone viral, drawing attention from around the world for their shocking appearance. Let's focus once more on Bangalore, and more specifically, Bellandur Lake. Until the 1980s, Bellandur Lake was fed by a series of reservoirs and lakes, but rapid urbanization took its toll. Rainwater no longer reached the lake, and its replenishment stopped. The lake's size and depth also decreased as development surged. Today, Bellandur Lake receives approximately 40% of Bangalore's runoff. The problem? This water is far from clean. Industrial waste, liquid and solid, ends up there too. High concentrations of surfactants and phosphates, typically used in detergents, are to blame. Phosphates, in particular, have the unnerving ability to help form foam and persist in the environment, making it difficult to eliminate. Since 2003, local residents have been reporting a strange phenomenon. The lake is covered in foam. This foamy sight has appeared repeatedly between 2015 and 2019, with foul smells accompanying it. Clearly, this foam isn't harmless. It's toxic and poses a significant threat to human and environmental health. But that's not the worst part. Sometimes, the lake actually catches fire. This has happened several times, including in 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2021. In 2018, the fire lasted over 30 hours. It sounds illogical, water catching fire. But scientists believe that the combination of untreated sewage and industrial waste, rich in organic material, creates anaerobic conditions, causing gas buildup. When this gas is ignited, the result is a lake on fire. The culprit here is methane, a highly flammable gas that builds up in the water. So, what is being done about it? Well, as unusual as it sounds, floating wetlands are the proposed solution. Floating wetlands consist of aquatic plants, typically found in wetlands, that are placed on floating mats. These mats can be made from various materials, including trash, like used soda bottles and drainage pipes. The plants, through their roots and leaves, absorb pollutants like manganese, iron, aluminum, and other common contaminants in the lake. Floating wetlands also reduce the nutrient load in the water, which is largely caused by household runoff. Though experts haven't provided exact figures on the effectiveness of these floating islands in India, estimates from European projects suggest that one such island can eliminate the nutrient load produced by 2 or 3 families in 1 year. Experts have also been researching how artificial wetlands can reduce water pollution. Studies show that the most effective breakdown of nutrients occurs through the biofilm, composed of algae, bacteria, and other microbes, that forms on the plant roots and surfaces. In the early 2010s, a company called Polyplan, in collaboration with Biofermenta and ASA Special Enzyme, proposed a reclamation plan for Bellender Lake. The plan included a biotechnical approach using flocculants to treat incoming water, vegetation on the water surface, and the production of bacterial cultures on site. Additionally, a more unconventional approach from the founder of New Algae Nanobiotech in Bengaluru suggested that diatoms, a type of algae, could be used to help clean the lake. These microorganisms produce oxygen as they grow, which helps aerobic bacteria break down organic waste. This approach could help eliminate the foul smell produced by anaerobic decay and potentially clean the lake. There is still hope for Bellender Lake, thanks to the tireless work of individuals like Malagavid, also known as the Lake Man of India. Malagavid became disillusioned with the lack of action from authorities, who were focused on beautifying lakes rather than making them swimmable or drinkable. He took it upon himself to restore the Kailasanahali Lake, which had been dry for over 40 years, by planting 18,000 saplings and using soil to filter out contaminated water. He managed to raise the water level of the lake by almost 6 feet in just 9 days. His efforts revived the lake and provided local farmers with a new water source for irrigation. The government, too, is involved in restoring Bellender Lake. After a 2017 fire, the National Green Tribunal held local authorities accountable. In response, the state government proposed diverting 32 million gallons of wastewater from Bellender into nearly 70 lakes in Anekal. However, concerns about the safety of using polluted water for irrigation led to a secondary treatment process being proposed. Despite these efforts, experts argue that Bellender's water needs 3 stages of treatment. While secondary treatment deals with chemical ions, phosphorus and nitrates continue to pose a problem, leaching into the groundwater. A more sustainable solution might involve passing the water through man-made wetlands before it reaches algae-filled ponds for further purification. By 2020, the Bangalore Development Authority had started cleaning the lake, removing about 60% of the silt. While this was a promising step, the project is still ongoing, with no clear timeline for completion. And even though the government plans to create wetlands for further pollution reduction, the deadline for completion has been pushed back to 2024. While the situation in Bellender may seem dire, it's important to note that India is tackling water pollution across the country. One of the most significant efforts is focused on the Ganges, India's holy and most important river. In 2014, the government launched an ambitious project to clean the Ganges, investing over $4 billion. The plan involves constructing sewage treatment plants, reforesting land along the river, and cleaning up surface waste. Additionally, farmers are being encouraged to switch to natural fertilizers to prevent runoff from entering the river. Although these efforts are far from a complete solution, they represent a vital part of India's broader strategy to address water pollution. As the country continues to expand its restoration efforts, there is hope for a cleaner, healthier future for its waterways.